everyone, it's Jaymie here. I'm the soulful intuitive coach and healer that provokes you to shift your life. My jam is all about transmuting alchemy. Some of you guys may already know this about me. I absolutely love to take existing beliefs, thoughts, experiences that we've seen as disempowering and shifting them in a way that is really to our highest benefit. And one of the things that I want to focus on today is universal beliefs. And I encourage you to challenge them so that you can free yourself. Because I think that there's a lot of well-intentioned sayings and mantras and just like concepts that we've internalized, which I think are actually really damaging. And so I want to talk about a number of them with you. So the first one is patience is a virtue. This is actually something that I thought of when a friend of mine messaged me, and she was like, "What's with all of these millennial millionaires?" And the first thought that came to me is, honestly, there are a lot of millennials who are in this instantaneous state of mind. Like, we're used to things showing up immediately. Whereas I grew up in a culture where I was told that patience is a virtue. And I realized that that has actually hindered me. Because I think that patience is a really valuable quality to have, but every situation is different, and patience isn't always the most aligned way to respond to something. And when we are told that patience is a virtue, what happens is we literally internalize this default belief that patience is a permanent positive quality that we should always practice, rather than tuning in to every individual situation and asking ourselves, is patience the most aligned way to respond to this? We are literally automatically conditioned to be patient. And to me, that is really disempowering and limiting, because patience isn't always the best thing. Just because something is quote unquote positive doesn't mean that that's the best way to respond to something. And the thing is, our subconscious mind is lazy. 85% of our thoughts come from our subconscious mind and our reaction and what we're driven by. And so if we're told, okay, patience is the way to be, it literally means that our brain doesn't have to work as hard. So it's literally just like, it's just triggering an automated response. And I think that this can be a real liability, because patience on a permanent level, I feel, kind of gives us permission to wait, because patient is a form of waiting. It's a discipline, and there are magic in the pauses, and I think it's so important for us to get present and to be patient with ourselves, and not try to rush the process. Of course, but there's a time and an ebb and flow for everything. And if we sit there and say patience is always the best thing, then we may actually be holding ourselves back. Like, how often have you seen situations where someone is more patient when they're dating someone and it's not serving them? Like, you are literally sacrificing your self-respect and your desires by being patient and just waiting and hoping that this person that you're dating is gonna show up the way you desire. You are just patient and hoping that someone is just going to change their ways, and in the process you're actually being abused and mistreated in the process. Patience can actually be really damaging. I think it's really important for us to remember that even positive qualities misused can actually be a liability. And so I don't believe that patience is a virtue, because that suggests that patience is always the answer to everything. And that's just not true. Sometimes it's really important for us to really go for that run. And when we tell ourselves that we have to be patient, we might walk and we might miss out on opportunities. So just really tune into your body and ask yourself, what is the best and most aligned thing? And so I really just, I caution any saying that really creates a kind of like permanent message, because every situation is different. There's an ebb and flow to everything, and it's important to check in with ourselves. The other thing is, don't be selfish. Like, I think that there's different levels of selfishness, and I feel like the connotation has this negative quality, but there's actually a benefit behind being selfishness that's being overlooked, and that is actually causing an energetic imbalance. In order to be selfless, you have to be selfish. In order to practice self-care, in order to make sure that you're not filling from an empty cup, you have to be selfish. Now, so I don't mean selfish like be disregarding and be inconsiderate. I mean selfish like you have to prioritize yourself. You have to put your needs and desires before anyone else's. And the reason being is that you have to understand yourself better than other people, which means you have to have a deeper relationship with yourself. You have to give more to yourself than you are giving to anyone else, because you cannot fill from an empty cup, right? And oftentimes I see these people who are empaths and who are putting the needs of other people first. And honestly, to me, that's a form of toxic selfishness. They think like, oh, I always put the needs of other people first, and I'm always caring for others more than I'm caring for myself. I actually think that that's ass backwards. I don't think that you are putting the needs of other people first. I think you have this unhealthy habit of putting yourself last. I don't think it's that you're putting other people first. It's just when you put yourself last, other people go before you. And when you are saying like, I care for other people, and I really care for them, I think it's more like you want to neglect yourself, and so you distract yourself with other people. You're not really caring for other people. You can't express, do, or offer something to others that you don't understand. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. You can try, but like, for example, if you don't have a healthy relationship with love, you can still love someone, but the way you love might not be in the most healthy way, because if you understand love in a dark, twisted way, that's how it may show up unless you do some healing around that, right? So if you don't know how to care for yourself, then you're not really caring for other people. You can't show someone something you don't know. What you're actually doing is creating you're transferring that disempowering energy onto other people. You are literally creating a codependent relationship where you are allowing everyone to practice something that's not healthy. You putting yourself last and other people like being energy vampires and taking energy from you, rather than someone saying, you know what, you're really tired, why don't you take care of yourself first? And so what you're actually creating is you're actually enabling people to maintain unhealthy habits. And I'm not saying this to shame anyone, but I really think it's so important to see things for what it is. And in a way, people who are when they say, I'm putting the needs of other people first, you're literally giving this message, I'm thoughtful, I'm considerate. And you're so used to exhausting yourself, and you're in your like that you on some level you think it's okay, and you think like, okay, yeah, it's a little imbalanced and it doesn't make me feel good, but I'm doing a good deed, so it's okay. And it's like, no, you're not doing a good deed. You are actually being selfish. In psychology, they actually say that pushovers, people who put the needs of other people before you, people who are afraid to say no, are actually afraid of being judged. So their actions are actually based on what they feel other people would want to hear to be liked. And it's actually the most selfish form of interaction. So, like I said, there's different levels of there's different kinds of selfishness, right? The people who say, I put the needs of other people more than the needs of myself are actually really selfish, and it's not serving you. The people that are the most emotionally balanced, healthy, successful, that have strong energetic boundaries, that are really there for people, that inspire and empower people, that feel revitalized as a result of it, who are energetically charged and alert and have this vibrant energy, are selfish. The healthy, holistic version of being selfish. This is understanding how you feel, how your mind works, what your body needs, what your soul craves, what it desires, and really identifying ways to give yourself this, to honoring that, to creating space. Because when you say to yourself, I deserve to feel good, I deserve to take care of myself, you are literally exuding that energy, and you are triggering that in other people. You are sparking that truth in other people that are like, you know what? I deserve to take care of myself. I deserve to feel good. I deserve to do good things. Like, I had a girlfriend of mine tell me, like, I don't like make my unhealthy decisions the other people's problems. And she gave an example, like, I might eat a bunch of junk food, but that's not hurting anyone but me. And I'm like, well, technically we're all connected to one another. So when you stand in line to get unhealthy food, there's this energy where she's saying, like, I'm going to make unhealthy decision, and that energy is being shared with other people. Now, that isn't to say don't do things that you want to do because other people are going to pick up on it. I'm not saying that when you don't make the healthiest decisions that you are contributing to someone else's poor decision making, because we are all responsible for the choices that we make, right? But at the same time, I do want to focus on the area where, we are actually connected to one another. And so when we're being selfish in a healthy, positive, empowering way, we are eliminating the need to have to take care of someone, to have to put the needs of someone before you, because we're actually inspiring and teaching them to do that for themselves in a really energetically supportive and empowering sort of a way. So be willing to be selfish from a holistic way. If you are able to think about other people more than you're thinking about yourself, that is imbalanced. Okay, you can think about yourself first and think about other people, and think and be considerate and be thoughtful and think of other people. One of my closest girlfriends, she is the most generous person that I know. She sends care packages, she's super thoughtful, and she's selfish. She knows how she feels at all times. And this is why she's able to deeply understand people, because she lives and breathes a deep level of understanding in her own life, that when she interacts with the rest of the world, she has that same level of deep understanding. And she knows, I deserve to feel good. I deserve to do what makes me happy. I deserve to be in an empowered state. So she shows up offering that to other people. And so we have to remember that the message that we give to the connotations that we attach to words aren't necessarily exclusively the definition of that word. Okay, another one is manipulative. Now, this is a word that I think is really interesting because it's got this negative connotation. But my adoptive mom told me that I'm a natural manipulator. Interior designers are manipulators. Motivational speakers. Tony Robbins is a brilliant fucking manipulator, because you can literally feel shitty and you watch a 10-minute YouTube video of him and you are pumped up. You are literally feeling fucking good about yourself. Manipulation is basically rearranging things, right? And that in and of itself isn't bad. Things sometimes have to be moved around in order to prevent stagnation, in order to be stimulated, in order to improve something, in order to connect with ourselves on a deeper level. And so for me, I like being a manipulator because I do it from an empowering place. And I don't know, for me, I felt really free when I learned that word just because it literally opened me up to seeing the possibility of the power of the words that we give and the difference between connotations and what's possible. And so I just really wanted to share these beliefs like, be an empowering manipulator. Um, Find the magic in the pauses, but don't necessarily default to patience, to being patient, and to practice selfishness in your self-care. I think that these are so absolutely important. And I challenge you to observe what your beliefs are that you've internalized. What's a message that you grew up with? And is it serving you? Now, these aren't the disempowering negative beliefs I'm focusing on, like I'm not good enough. I'm talking about the messages that seem inspiring, and so we may not realize that it could possibly be hindering us. And really ask yourself, is this always true? And if it's not always true, how can you maybe replace it with a different message that'll resonate? Like for me, patience is a virtue. I honestly never really internalized that, but I think a beautiful replacement instead of patience is a virtue is there are magic in the pauses. But I'm not telling myself to always pause. And it's just appreciating what's there when it's there. And it's literally inviting me to tune into what's the most aligned. And that's the thing about universal messages sometimes, is that it's like a one size fits all kind of a message, which I think is really damaging. So I really encourage you to look at some of your messages. It may be something like, don't cry wolf. Like, I've been diagnosed with endometriosis and I was always in pain. And I felt like if every single time I complained, every time I was in pain, people are going to be like, oh, she's just crying wolf, that like people wouldn't take me seriously. So I ignored the pain. And that was really damaging. Like sometimes it's so important to be honest. So whatever it is, just it's different for everyone, but I really encourage you to tune into what some of your universal beliefs are and ask yourself if they serve you, and if not, free yourself from them. These are the messages that really, they seem empowering. Like they've been twisted so much that like you don't see the damage that it's doing. So I just want to invite you to just look at what's underneath the surface, because a lot of times when we don't explore that, we're dealing with the effects and the damages of it without realizing where it's coming from. So observing that is absolutely huge. If this is something that you'd like some guidance on, I'm offering a special, and it's called Transmuting Alchemy. It's a 60-minute call with me where we can talk about any of the beliefs that you have, things that may have been holding you back in the past, and freeing yourself from them by transmuting them. It's a beautiful practice to really learn to love yourself, accept yourself, and to work with yourself and understand yourself, and recognizing that all of the tools and everything that you've been given is actually serving you. So you don't have to release them. It's not that they're bad. It's about shifting them around and manipulating them so that they serve you for your highest benefit. This is something that I absolutely love, love, love to do, and I am offering a special for 60 minutes. It's going to be $83. So that's pretty fun for just like mind blowing, soul shifting perspectives that you can literally carry with you for the rest of your life. Because there's a lot of stuff that's like shackled in our minds that we don't realize. And when you just like release it, it becomes this amazing catalyst for a bunch of other stuff. So I hope that this message resonates with you. If you're interested in scheduling a session with me, comment below or message me. All right? Bye.